I was sitting down talking to someone. I was having a conversation with her, and she was telling me that she's going to use gentle parenting for her children. I was like, what is gentle parenting? And then when I started researching it, because I always research things when I don't know what it is, I found out that this is not a new trend. Stay tuned and we'll talk about where gentle parenting really comes from. So, yeah, I was talking to someone and they were telling me about they were going to use gentle parenting to parent their children. And so as I was researching it and looking it up, I'm like, this sounds a lot like another parenting trend, parenting style that I learned about. And so let me tell you about it. So when I was in undergrad working on my associate's degree, I have an associate's in early childhood. We had to learn the different parenting styles, the four parenting styles to be exact. And I'm just going to go briefly go over it with you. The first parenting style was authoritative. And authoritative is when the parent listens to her child, when the parent is responsive to her child, when the parent's approach is they emphasize communication, understanding, explaining things to their child, actually listening to their child, and actually looking at their emotional development and responding to how children feel and creating a stronger and more positive relationship with them. Sound familiar? Sounds a lot like gentle parenting. The next one was authoritative, and that parenting style is do it because I said so. And it really focuses on the child being obedient. And if they don't do what they're told, then they get a consequence. That's how I was raised. I was raised with a very authoritarian parents. The next type of parent is called the uninvolved parents. And this parent, they love their children, but they're detached from their children. They'll make sure that they have the necessities, but they may not spend time with their child. They may not even listen to their child. They're just there to just give them what they need. They may not even know what's going on in school with their child, but they do take care of their child. And sometimes, if it gets severe, they may not even meet the basic needs of their child. That's the uninvolved parent. And then there's the permissive parents. Um, a lot of times we would see parents of a different culture, they had that permissive style, which is letting the kids do whatever they wanted to do. They loved their kids, but they didn't put a lot of demands on them. And they may even ask the child, what do they think about important decisions? They tend not to get upset with their child. Not think that their child is mature enough to handle things, so they just let them have their way. And it's a little more detailed, but I'm just giving you a brief synopsis of it. And a lot of times with these different types of parents that were permissive, they were very lenient with their children. Permissive parents were very lenient with their children. So those were the different four parenting styles. So as I learned about gentle parenting, I'm like, wow, that sounds a lot like the authoritative parents. I remember like I said, when I was in undergrad, early childhood, and I started learning about the parenting styles, I decided that I wasn't going to have the authoritarian style with my kids, the do as I say. I would be more of the authoritative, which is kind of figuring out how they felt about things, explaining things to them, because that was a big one with me growing up. It was always because I said so. And I always would go away with questions like, well, why? And why can't do that? And if you asked why, you were looked at as being disrespectful. And I know some of you understand what I'm talking about because you were raised in that type of setting. A lot of African Americans' household was raised like that. And so I didn't want my kids to feel like they couldn't ask questions. Now, there's a way to ask questions. Now, if you're disrespectful, like, well, why we got to do that? Well, no, that's not the way you do it. Of course, that's being disrespectful. But you can ask, well, why do we need to do it that way? And I always wanted to make sure that my children understood why I was doing something. Sometimes to the point of I would be hours trying to explain something to them, but I really wanted them to go away with the sense of understanding. So I was already incorporating the gentle parenting in my parenting style, and I didn't even know it. But the one thing that I did find different in the gentle parenting is that one of their key points is that you would give the consequence based on the child's developmental level, the developmental age. I like that. The reason why I knew the developmental age is because I studied early childhood. But with gentle parenting, they said that the parent has to give a consequence based on the child's understanding and the developmental age. So, what that says to me is in order to do that, you have to understand and know the child's developmental level and age. And that to me is a positive, because sometimes when parents give out consequences, they give it out to all the kids, no matter what their age is. Okay, you guys didn't listen, everybody has to go to bed. You're not listening, so no one gets any treats. Instead of explaining that maybe the younger kids, they didn't have the capacity to really understand what was going on. And again, a lot of times parents, they give everybody the same treatment across the board. With gentle parenting, one of the things they say is you have to understand the age in order to give the consequence. So I do like that about gentle parenting. But like I said, gentle parenting is a lot like authoritative. It's not a new trend, it's been around. And one of the good things about when you have a type of parenting style that has been a while for a long time, there's research to show that authoritative parenting, it really works. It really works to have self-confident children and have children that understand their emotions. And that's one of the things that was lacking with authoritative, is that and even with the uninvolved or the permissive, the kids didn't get a chance to understand how they felt, why they felt the way they felt. So with gentle parenting, that encourages that aspect of for the child. And so, like I said, I like that part about gentle parenting, is that they do encourage the parents to understand the developmental ages of the child. And so again, it's not a new trend. And then I stopped and I said, well, then why do they call it gentle parenting? Because it sounds better. That's the only thing I could think of. It sounds better than to say authoritative. It sounds better to say gentle, because when you think about something gentle, you think about, I'm really lovingly raising my kids. One of the myths about gentle parenting is I was researching that a lot of times they look at it as permissive parenting, because they think because you're gentle, that means you're letting your kids run over you, you're letting them get away with things. But it's not. You're setting boundaries and you're setting consequences, but you're explaining to your child. You're telling them why. And even if you do have to step in, let's just say you gave them a choice. Well, you can either have a choice to wear the red coat or you can wear the blue coat. They say, I don't want to wear a coat. Well, since I see that you can't make a decision, I'm going to choose the red coat for you. So you're still parenting, you're still having consequences, you're still disciplining them, but you're disciplining them without yelling and screaming. And what you're doing is you're modeling the behavior. So if you're telling them, I don't want you to yell and scream, then you're not yelling and screaming when you're talking to them. So when I read about the gentle parenting, I was kind of proud of myself, because I had already incorporated a lot of that into me raising my kids, because I was in early childhood. So if some of you are parents and you're raising your children, let me know in the comments some of the ways that you're raising your children. Based on the 4 parenting styles that I talked about, does any of them resonate with you? Are you raising your child in any one of those 4 ways besides the gentle parenting? Or are you incorporating gentle parenting with some of those other styles? So I really want to support you in this journey of raising your children. So down below, I have a free journal to help you with 15 affirmations for your child. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. So it's down below. Just go ahead and click on it and supply your information, and you'll get a 15-day journal of positive affirmations for you with your child. And here's another awesome video that's going to help you on this journey to raising your child.